got a show for you Jets fans today that will have you absolutely fired up about your new head coach, Aaron Glenn. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and we're going to talk about what Aaron Glenn had to say about the New York Jets offseason. Then also on the second half of today's show, Dan Campbell, Lions head coach, had some love to show for his former defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn. But before we dive into it, if you guys are an AG believer, go down there and hit that thumbs up icon. I put today's goal as 350 likes. If you guys see, we're not at that goal just yet. Help us out here. Go down there and hit that thumbs up icon. If you believe that Aaron Glenn is the guy for the New York Jets, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. All right, Aaron Glenn. He was talking about the New York Jets offseason, and also I chose this photo on purpose. These uniforms are awesome. The baggy sleeves, baggy jersey, untucked. Like, the Jets need to bring this back with the NFL changing their throwback jersey rules. These are sweet. Also, the helmets are fresh as well. So hopefully the Jets bring that back. But Aaron Glenn, he was talking about the offseason, and he was asked, it feels a little quiet around the New York Jets this year, and he says it is by design. Listen, I'm a huge believer in just moving in silence and letting things play out the way they need to play out. This doesn't need to be a big hoopla of what we're doing. We just want to go about our business and coach these players and try to create an atmosphere for the players that's totally different. And I love this mentality. Like, I truly believe this. If you have a quiet offseason, it will lead to a successful regular season. Because think about the teams in the NFL this year that always have just a bunch of noise around them, like the Las Vegas Raiders. They're always making noise in the offseason. The New York Giants, like even the Chicago Bears, these bottom feeders of the NFL. Like, once the offseason rolls around, like, that's when their fans really get invested. But I feel like for the Jets situation, especially being in the New York market, a quiet offseason will lead to a successful regular season, because I truly believe in the whole mantra of, like, yeah, work in silence. And especially nowadays, like, if it's the whole joke, like, if you didn't take a video of yourself working out, did you really go work out? Like, I think it's incredibly corny, people that do that. But I like the mantra, and I like the mentality, the thought process coming in here from Aaron Glenn, where it's like, yeah, I want to move in silence. I don't want anybody talking about this New York Jets football team in the offseason. But when in the regular season, when we're winning games, then you guys can talk about it. And he, carried on to say this: I want to move in silence, man, and just go about your business to go win some games. You don't win any offseason anyway. I mean, I know everybody has these grades on free agency grades and draft grades. When you go back and look at them, they don't really mean crap. And I totally agree with that, Mr. Aaron Glenn. Like, the whole, free agency grades. Like, this team gets a C minus. This team gets a B minus. Draft grades. Like, this team gets this letter grade. This team gets that letter grade. And, like, people think that impacts winning football games in the regular season. I mean, take the Bears, for example. They had great off seasons. They probably got A's on their free agency last year, their draft last year. Did it result in wins? Absolutely not. But I think Aaron Glenn is just a perfect fit for the New York Jets, and is just I think the Jets need to go back to a coach that's going to add some toughness, and he's going to add some physicality to this football team. And, in this era we live in, where everybody is just, look at me, look at me, look at what I'm doing, look at all these moves I'm making, instead of Aaron Glenn's taking the approach, I'm just going to work in silence. We're going to keep it to ourselves and keep it to these guys here in the building. I love that mentality. And, it's always been a personal gripe I've had with, people who are in media and people who just post on social media, the bunch of look at me stuff. I just don't think it really is too authentic. And, I think Aaron Glenn's taking the right approach here for the New York Jets. But I'll ask you guys this: the 2025 Jets record will be, you guys let me know down below in the comment section. Predict the Jets record for next season. My early record prediction for this team is a strong 7-10. Now, obviously, a 7-10 record, this is nothing to write home about, but I think this will be a culture-setting year for the New York Jets, where if we have a good year this year, you can move on and, build off that for the next couple of seasons. But you guys go down. Let me know. Predict the Jets record for next season. All right, let's talk about it. Dan Campbell. He had a lot to say on Aaron Glenn, and honestly, it had me fired up. But also just kind of spoke to how close of a relationship these two had. I mean, they both came to the Lions in 2021, completely turned that program around to one of the best in the National Football League, and Aaron Glenn played a massive part in it. And this is what Dan Campbell had to say: you got to be able to do what you need to do and build it from the ground up. AG has been around some phenomenal coaches: Bill Parcells, Sean Payton. This guy gets it. He has been around the best at building and sustaining. You need a leader and a guy that can hold people accountable. And I'm talking top down, has a vision for where you want to go and allows them to do that and has every bit of that. As long as he has that support, AG will turn things around. It's no question. And I'll tell you what, I bet you they're going to miss Aaron Glenn a little more than Ben Johnson. And I think Ben Johnson's going to do great things in Chicago. I'm a big fan of that pickup for the Bears. But in terms of the Lions situation, they never had the most talent on defense, and I feel like Aaron Glenn was taking like a C plus, B minus level group, having him playing like a B plus, A minus group at certain points. And obviously, like the Lions got all types of talent on offense. I mean, they got one of the best offensive lines in the league, great weapons, great backfield, pretty damn good quarterback in Jared Goff. But I think next season we're going to see that Lions defense really take a step back, and it's going to be because they lost Aaron Glenn to the New York Jets. But Campbell also had this to say: he's an unbelievable leader, an even better person. He's the type of person that makes people want to rally around him. If he can't do it, nobody can, and that's my opinion. Now, I love that part about he's the type of person that makes people want to rally around him. And I have never seen Aaron Glenn in person. I've never had a conversation with Aaron Glenn in my life, but I already feel myself wanting to rally around this guy being the New York Jets head coach because he's all about the Jets. He's all about football. And even what he was saying and what we were talking about in the first half of today's show, he doesn't care about the social media clicks. He doesn't care about having a busy offseason where the Jets are headlining ESPN and Fox Sports every single day. He is a believer in the phrase work in silence. And that's something I'm a big believer in, especially when it comes to the National Football League. You got to work in silence and then have every Sunday. Then people will know how good and what you have been working on for the last couple of months instead of reminding people, every single day. I love that mentality for Glenn. And also, I think the culture has already changed. It already feels different. From the Robert Saleh, Aaron Rodgers era, it has completely flipped that page. We're on to a new chapter, and I couldn't be more excited. But Campbell also said this, saying, go pull up anything AG's done here and just watch it. It's all over the internet. He's an unbelievable teacher. He's a motivator. He's all about the details, and he's about accountability. If he has something on his mind, he's no different than I am. He's going to say it. He's not just going to sweep it under the rug. He's going to let you know, and I think that's important. Sometimes that gets lost. Everybody just assumes if you're holding people accountable, that means you're being an asshole. That's not what that means. And even if the Jets, let's just say this year goes to a disaster, and they're 3-10 at a point, and people are just very down on this team, I bet you every single Sunday this team will play their tails off for the head coach, for Aaron Glenn. And I think that really goes a long way in terms of just building a culture. Because if you have 53 guys in that locker room who want to go play for that head coach, and they would do everything they can to not only have this team be successful, but for their head coach to be successful, they will do that. So I couldn't be more excited to watch this football team next season. I just can't wait to see the physicality and just the swagger of an Aaron Glenn-led New York Jets. But if you guys made it to the end of today's show, hit me with the Go Jets down below in the comments section. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. As always, Go Jets.